Good evening. Here are tonight top stories. A Brazilian national faces 9 charges following a fatal accident in Lethem. Additionally, Neil Garraway receives a 2-year prison sentence for burglary. The institute calls for a police investigation into corruption allegations against Vice President Jagdeo. On a positive note, Lucan Prison remains free of new chickenpox cases. Meanwhile, the DPP will advise on charges for 6 police officers involved in shooting incidents. Tragedy strikes Masara village as 3 girls drown in a community pond. 3 teenagers charged with the murder of Bess are remanded to a juvenile holding center. Plus, Schengen visa processing will soon be available in Guyana with the opening of the French embassy. Stay tuned for further updates. Please remember to like, share and subscribe for more news.
Brazilian national slapped with 9 charges following fatal accident in Lethem. Casmero Sirawan, a 26-year-old from Boa Vista, Brazil, found himself facing a slew of charges after being involved in a fatal accident on Friday, March 22, 2024, on Barak Retreat Public Road in Lethem Commercial Zone. Appearing before Magistrate Omedat Chandan at the Lethem Magistrates Court, Juan was formally charged with the following offenses: causing death by dangerous driving, contrary to Section 35(1) of the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act, Chapter 51:02. Driving a motor vehicle whilst breath alcohol level exceeded the prescribed limit, contrary to Section 39(2) of the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act, Chapter 51:02. Failing to stop after an accident, contrary to Section 62(1)(a) of the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Act, Chapter 51:02. Failing to render assistance to an injured person, contrary to Section 62(1)(c) of the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Act, Chapter 51:02. Taking a motor vehicle without the owner's consent, contrary to Section 108(1)(a) of the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Act, Chapter 51:02. Operating an unlicensed motor vehicle, contrary to Section 22(1) of the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Act, Chapter 51:02. Driving an uncertified motor vehicle, contrary to Section 15 of the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Act, Chapter 51:02. Driving as an unlicensed driver, contrary to Section 23(1) of the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act, Chapter 51:02. Operating an uninsured motor vehicle, contrary to Section 3(1) of the Motor Vehicle Insurance, Third-Party Risk Act, Chapter 51:03. Juan entered a guilty plea to all charges and was remanded to prison pending sentencing, scheduled for April 16, 2024. The charges stem from an incident where pedestrian Shamo Lindy, a 48-year-old from Culvert City, Lethem Central, lost her life after being struck down by a pickup vehicle driven by Casmero Sirawan. The tragic accident has left the community in mourning and underscores the importance of road safety and responsible driving. Burglary conviction: Neil Garraway sentenced to 2 years in prison. Neil Garraway, the 23-year-old laborer hailing from Mint Street Prosperity, Mocha, East Bank Demerara, found himself facing the consequences of his actions after being arrested last Friday. Today, at the Diamond/Golden Grove Magistrates Court before Principal Magistrate Faith McGusty, Garraway was formally charged with burglary, contrary to Section 233 of the Criminal Law Offences Act, Chapter 801. Having pleaded guilty to the charge, Garraway was swiftly handed down a sentence of 2 years imprisonment. The conviction stemmed from a burglary committed on the dwelling house of Karen Sturge, situated at Mint Street Prosperity, Mocha, East Bank Demerara. The incident occurred between March 21 and 22, 2024. This legal action underscores the commitment of law enforcement to uphold the safety and security of the community, while sending a clear message that criminal activities will be met with swift and decisive consequences. Institute urges police investigation into corruption allegations against Vice President Jagdeo. In a recent development, the Institute for Action Against Discrimination has taken a significant step by formally urging Mr. Clifton Hicken, the acting commissioner of police, to initiate an investigation into alleged corruption involving Vice President Barrett Jagdeo and his associate Sue Giron. This move comes in the wake of Minister Gail Teixeira's statement to the United Nations Human Rights Commission, asserting that no police report had been filed against the vice president, thereby preventing any investigation into the matter. The Institute's communication to Mr. Hicken underscores the gravity of the situation, emphasizing the imperative need for the Guyana police force to delve into the allegations outlined in a report by Vice News. The letter highlights concerns about potential high-level involvement in illicit activities, stressing the paramount importance of maintaining public trust and upholding the rule of law. Ubridge Nareen, Vice Chairman and Communication Officer for the Institute, articulated the organization's stance, emphasizing the necessity of an impartial and transparent investigation. Nareen underscored the importance of independence in the investigative process, urging the police to ensure that the inquiry is conducted without bias or obstruction. This, he emphasized, would reinforce public confidence in the integrity of the Guyana police force and its commitment to combating corruption at all echelons. The allegations against Vice President Jagdeo stem from a 2022 report by Vice News, which implicated him in a bribery scandal, alleging that he accepted bribes to facilitate Chinese businessmen in securing lucrative public sector projects. It's noteworthy that copies of the letter have been forwarded to the United Nations and Mrs. Shalimar Ali Haq, the Director of Public Prosecutions, underscoring the significance and urgency of the matter at hand. Lucan Prison remains free of new chickenpox cases. As the situation unfolds, Lucan Prison officials have reported no new cases of chickenpox within their facility. Officer in charge, Dioraj Gyandat, revealed that out of the 25 active cases, 7 individuals have successfully recovered. Gyandat highlighted that the Ministry of Health's medical teams are diligently conducting surveillance and screening procedures. All current inmates have undergone screening, while new arrivals are promptly assessed upon entry. These screenings involve a questionnaire aimed at assessing the risk of potential chickenpox infection among inmates. In the event of suspected cases, individuals are promptly isolated as a precautionary measure. Furthermore, a comprehensive educational and hygiene campaign, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, is underway. This initiative aims to educate inmates on preventive measures against contracting the virus and recognizing its symptoms. The prison administration has also intensified its preventive measures to combat the spread of chickenpox. These measures include the administration of medication such as acyclovir and calamine lotion, increased sanitation efforts, exposure of mattresses and clothing to sunlight for disinfection, sterilization of eating utensils and personal belongings, adherence to vaccination protocols, and daily medical evaluations. The combined efforts of proactive screening, isolation protocols, educational campaigns, and enhanced sanitation measures demonstrate the prison's commitment to safeguarding the health and well-being of its inmates amidst the ongoing challenge of chickenpox outbreak. DPP to advise on charges for 6 police officers involved in shooting incidents. Following the conclusion of investigations into 2 separate shooting incidents involving police officers, the Guyana Police Force, GPF, announced that the case files will be forwarded to the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, for legal advice. Mark Ramatar, director of the GPF's Corporate Communications Department, confirmed on Wednesday that the investigation into the fatal shooting of Police Sergeant Alex Vaughn, as well as the shooting incident involving another police sergeant, has been completed. Both sets of files will be submitted to the DPP chambers for review. Sergeant Vaughn was tragically killed by a fellow officer, a police constable, on March 12 during a joint services operation in Carao, Region 7. The incident occurred while they were pursuing prison escapee Akeem Wong. The constable allegedly discharged his weapon accidentally while disembarking from a tractor, resulting in Sergeant Vaughn's death. The constable has been placed under close arrest pending further investigation. In a separate incident on March 11, 5 police officers, including a sergeant, a corporal, a lance corporal, and 2 constables, fired shots at a police sergeant's car in Republic Park, East Bank Demerara. The officers, part of the special branch, were reportedly investigating an alleged robbery/murder and mistook the sergeant's car for the suspect's getaway vehicle. The terrified sergeant drove to Providence Police Station, unaware of the officer's identity. Subsequently, all involved officers were placed under close arrest. The legal advice from the DPP will guide the next steps in these cases, determining whether charges will be laid against the officers involved. The GPF remains committed to transparency and accountability in addressing incidents involving its members. Tragedy strikes Masara village, 3 girls drown in community pond. In a heartbreaking turn of events, tragedy struck Masara village in Region 9 as 3 young girls lost their lives in a drowning incident at the Razor Grass Pond on Tuesday. The pond, originally dug in 2015 to aid residents during dry seasons, has become a popular spot for leisure activities, attracting both adults and children for fishing, gardening, and swimming. Tasheo Lenny Moses of Masara village recounted that on Tuesday, Nia Jeffries, 6, Michelle Jeffries, 5, and Alicia Dorick, 9, ventured to the pond for a swim without their parents' knowledge. The girls, all from the same family, Michelle and Nia being sisters and Alicia their cousin, left their home unbeknownst to their parents. The news of the incident has left the village and the wider region in a state of shock as community members grapple with the devastating loss. Tasheo Moses explained that while the pond served practical purposes during droughts and offered recreational opportunities, such as fishing, it tragically became the site of the girls' untimely deaths. Upon realizing the children were missing, their parents initiated a frantic search, leading them to the Razor Grass Pond where the bodies of the 3 girls were discovered floating in the water. The pond, surrounded by bushes and located approximately 500 meters from the nearest house, presents challenges in terms of accessibility and supervision. Although foul play is not suspected, Police Commander Raphael Rose emphasized that the investigation is ongoing, with autopsy reports awaited to determine the cause of death. The autopsies are scheduled to take place on Saturday, shedding further light on this tragic incident that has deeply impacted the Masara village community. Three teenagers charged with murder of Bess, remanded to Juvenile Holding Center. 3 teenagers have been remanded to the Juvenile Holding Center after being charged with the murder of 17-year-old Bess, who was brutally beaten and stabbed to death last week. The tragic incident occurred on March 20th in Potentia, West Bank Demerara, shaking the local community and prompting swift police action. According to a statement from the Guyana police force, the suspects, all juveniles, appeared before Magistrate Rondell Weaver at the Wales Magistrates Court. They were remanded until April 30th as investigations continue. Reports from the police indicate that on the night of the incident, Bess was walking to a nearby shop around 21:30 HRS when he was attacked by the suspects. The altercation allegedly stemmed from an old misunderstanding, during which the assailants began hurling bottles and bricks at Bess. As the situation escalated, one of the suspects reportedly struck Bess multiple times with a piece of steel, while another stabbed him repeatedly across his body. The brutal assault left Bess critically injured, and despite efforts by public-spirited individuals to help him, he succumbed to his injuries. Upon examination, the police discovered stab wounds on Bess's left upper chest, left lower stomach area, and right side neck, including the jugular vein, indicating the severity of the attack. Initially, authorities had apprehended one 17-year-old suspect in connection with the crime. However, further investigation led to the identification and subsequent arrest of 2 additional juveniles believed to be involved in the murder. The incident has sent shockwaves through the community, highlighting the importance of addressing youth-related violence and ensuring the safety of all residents. The tragic loss of Bess has prompted calls for greater efforts to prevent such senseless acts of violence and to provide support and guidance to at-risk youth. As the investigation progresses, the community awaits further developments in the case, hoping for justice to be served for the untimely death of Bess. Schengen visa processing to be available in Guyana with opening of French embassy. In a significant development set to alleviate travel hurdles for Guyanese citizens, the processing of Schengen visas will soon be accessible within Guyana itself. This news comes following the announcement of the opening of a French embassy in Georgetown, slated for next year. Currently, Guyanese nationals seeking to obtain Schengen visas, required for entry into numerous European countries, are obliged to travel to Suriname for visa processing. However, with the establishment of the French embassy in Guyana, this cumbersome process will be eliminated, offering a more convenient avenue for European travel aspirations. EU Ambassador to Guyana, René van Ness, expressed the profound impact this development will have, stating, "Soon, if you want to travel to Europe, you can go next year to the French embassy in Georgetown and get your Schengen visa here, and you no longer have to go to Paramaribo, so that will really be a big change for everyone who wants to visit Europe." The Schengen visa facilitates travel to Slovenia and any of the other 26 Schengen countries, including popular destinations like France, Germany, Italy, and Spain, allowing a stay of up to 90 days for non-Europeans. President Dr. Irfan Ali has previously underscored the hindrance posed by visa processing procedures to business relations between Guyana and the EU. He has advocated for such services to be available within Guyana, a proposition that will soon materialize with the opening of the French embassy. The embassy's establishment marks a significant milestone, making France the first EU country to have diplomatic representation at this level in Guyana. The joint communiqué between Guyana and France highlighted its potential to bolster cooperation across various sectors, particularly in areas where French expertise is esteemed. Furthermore, the embassy's presence is expected to enhance ties between Guyana and French Guiana, as well as strengthen relations between France and the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, headquartered in Georgetown. Meanwhile, Guyana is actively pursuing Schengen visa-free travel, with support from at least 5 EU countries. President Ali noted the importance of enhancing Guyana's passport system through biometrics and e-passport technology to facilitate global travel seamlessly. As Guyana progresses towards enhancing its travel infrastructure and diplomatic relations, the opening of the French embassy signifies a pivotal step towards fostering greater connectivity and cooperation between Guyana, Europe, and the wider Caribbean region.